Alright, guys, welcome back to the DoD podcast, and welcome to a pretty interesting episode. I was just kind of brainstorming different things that I think would be interesting to talk about. I know last time on the podcast we talked about Star Wars, but I absolutely do want to get into some horror stuff as well that I can't really talk about in just a condensed single film review. So, I thought it would be really, really fun to go over some of the movies that have genuinely scared the shit out of me, man. You know, I'm not going to say I see this a lot, but I see a lot of horror fans, oh, nothing can scare me. I've seen it all, and I'd say like 98% of the time I'm one of those people. There's just not really a whole lot that really gets to me anymore. I've been watching this shit for I don't even fucking know how long at this point. Or I would probably be able to do math and figure it out, but I don't fucking want to. So what I'm trying to say though is I've seen a lot of this shit, and yeah, not really a whole lot gets to me. I don't find myself being kept up at night, and even some of the later films we're about to talk about at the later half of the podcast, movies that have genuinely disturbed me and scared me as an adult. Even then, it's still not one of those things that I take to bed with me and I can't sleep and I'm checking my closet and nothing like that shit. And I gotta be honest, man, I kind of miss that feeling a little bit. I kind of miss the feeling of, as weird and kind of fucked up as that might sound. I do miss, being a kid and having horror movies be horrifying. And we'll get to some of the early films that really, really got to me as a kid. And it's not a lot. And I go back and watch these movies and I don't even wince at them. And, I do miss that feeling. I'll be honest. I miss the feeling of, like, kind of being nervous going into a horror movie. But as we get further along into the podcast, you'll see that there are some movies that are still capable of getting to me. Maybe in different ways as I'm now an older person, but nonetheless, I am very capable of getting scared. I think anyone with a brain is. I don't really believe in fearlessness in somebody. I don't think that exists. Shout out to Pentagon Jr. though. He's the only exception. If you don't like wrestling, I don't really know what to tell you on that reference. But anyways, Google him. Moving on. So let's just get into the first movie here. Now, I've definitely spoken about this film before on the channel in some way, shape, or form. I do plan on going over it in vivid detail on the channel one day, but especially since it does hold a special place in my heart for different reasons than it being a quality movie, because I'll be honest, this is not a very good movie. But I think it gets a lot more shit than it deserves, nonetheless. And that is House of Wax. Not the original, but the Paris Hilton House of Wax movie. And everyone calls it the Paris Hilton House of Wax movie, even though she's not the main character. But that was kind of the whole gimmick behind that film, is everyone wanted to see Paris Hilton get killed. But I remember my mom renting this, and my older brothers and my sister and her and the whole family except for me. And I don't think, maybe my sister didn't watch it too. She kind of had a hard time with horror movies sometimes as well. But no, I'm bullshitting. She did watch it. I think I was the only one who was like not allowed to watch it. And I was begging my mom. I was pleading. It was my first horror movie that wasn't like a Universal monster, fun little black and white horror movie. And it was my first one, and I was like, "Come on, please, 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 let me watch it." I'm like 7, somewhere around there. Probably a little younger. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I was around like 6 or 7. So I'm sure my timeline's off, but. Anyways, so I was fucking young. And I begged her and I begged her and I begged her, please, 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 please. And finally she relented and was like, all right, fucker, fine. She didn't, call her child a fucker. I'm kind of exaggerating there. But, but yeah, man, she let me sit down and watch it, and I couldn't fucking sleep for the next couple months. It completely traumatized me. Spoiler alert for the House of Wax movie, the particular one that I'm speaking about. If you've not seen it, the main villain, which is what really, really spooked me. I could get into one day I'll review it and we'll talk about the film itself. If you want brief thoughts, I've watched it since as an adult. It's not very good. At least in my opinion. And then, it's been a while since I've seen it, so I definitely want to look at it with more of a, critical eye, as in taking notes and yada, yada, yada. But from what I remember, I didn't really like it that much. But as a kid, man, and it being your first horror movie, and, quality be damned, that villain is fucking creepy. Got that long, mangy, greasy black hair, and his fucking face is like half made of wax, if I remember correctly, and oh god, and he's like snipping people's fucking Achilles tendons, and just a bunch of brutal, gross, awful, like, this dude, and he just looks terrifying, man. And it was a lot for my little brain to handle, and I just, it was done for me, man. I was fucking done. I remember I would go over to my dad's house, and if he was upstairs, I was upstairs. If he was downstairs, I was downstairs. If he was in the basement, I would reluctantly go down there with him, and I imagine now as an adult how annoying that must have been. And I did it to my mom too, but we lived in a one-story house, so it really wasn't as prevalent because I always had her on the same floor for the most part. But no, man, that movie fucked me up so bad, dude. I was so afraid that fucking guy was gonna come get me, man. Oh my god. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I was young. I was probably like 6. Definitely 6 or 7. First horror movie that I can really remember. It fucked my ass up bad. Ooh, yeah. That was a crazy one. I do want to review it sometime on the channel. I don't know when that would necessarily be, but I am curious to go back and look at it with now a fully grown adult's eyes. I think the last time I watched it, I'm contradicting myself because I'm pretty sure I said I watched it as an adult. Last time I watched it, I was probably like in high school, and I don't remember liking it very much. But hey, I'm definitely curious to go back and look at it now. But yeah, man, that was like the first movie that genuinely fucked me up and like really, really, really spooked me. But moving on. So we go from that to Wrong Turn 2. This was another one. I was still in my phase of being genuinely frightened by horror. I was just not having it, and I don't know why, but for some fucking reason, I decided it would be a good idea to, at least I remember it very vividly. I was in the room. I don't know why I just didn't go in my room. I was in the living room. I don't know why I just didn't go into to my room and just play with my fucking action figures and ignore it. Like, I don't know why I felt the need to be out there. It's probably because the computer was out there, and at the time, that was, like, the family computer, So I guess I just wanted to watch YouTube videos, and I was sitting there watching it, and I could still hear what was going on through the headphones, man. And every once in a while, I would turn back and look, and it would be Three Finger, like, fucking killing somebody, or I remember very vividly the chain kill where the guy gets the chain wrapped around his neck, and he's just fucking spitting up blood and shit. And just the look of the Cannibal family really fucking frightened me, and I remember a lot of, like, the first time ever, I didn't watch the movie, but I would always, like, look over my shoulder at the worst parts. Like, the guy getting his head cut off on the camera, fucking those two, like the brother and sister cannibal fucking, and just all that crazy shit, man. And I got all of like the worst bits. I think there was one scene where they ate one of their friends at a campfire by accident, and just all the shit that I would want to avoid is what I ended up seeing in that movie, and it fucked me up really bad. That I think scared me a little more than House of Wax, cuz to me, in my brain, this was like a little more realistic. You know, a guy with half a wax face. It's like, okay, I get to see it, but this is like, yeah, I could see like a psychotic fucking hillbilly inbred family come in, and I mean, this is set in like super, super deep woods, West Virginia, so I don't know why I was scared of them being in St. Louis, but in my little kid brain, I fucking was. I was so scared of those, I think they're called the Hilliker brothers, I think. I might be fucking that up. Please comment if I'm fucking up the name of the wrong turn inbred hillbilly family. I think it's like the Hillikers. I think I might be right, but I'm not sure. All I know is they scared the fuck out of me, and it wasn't the original 3. It wasn't the original Wrong Turn. It was Wrong Turn 2. So I got more of them to be afraid of than just the original 3. But oh my god, and it even got to the point I was so scared of, like, it eventually evolved into a general fear of cannibalism. I remember cannibalism, even when I first really started getting into horror, like, I did not like the idea of cannibalism. I mean, not implying that I'm just overly enthusiastic about the idea in general now, but but in a movie context, I'm totally cool with it. I don't give a fuck. But at the time, man, even like when I was first getting into it, I was like avoiding cannibal shit. But before I really got into horror, I remember they had a copy of the original Wrong Turn. And again, bear in mind, I was not into horror at all at this time. So I get, I see the copy of Wrong Turn, the original, and it's the DVD cover. You can Google it. And it's just Three Fingers' face, just kind of this red, like, tinted three-finger face with Elijah Dushku on the cover of it as well. And it fucked me up. I couldn't even look at it, man. I remember one day I was home alone, and it was just sitting on the DVD shelf, and I was like, I'm done with this. So I grab it. I don't even look at it. And I just hide it like deep in our closet. And it was like, that thing was in there for fucking years. I'm talking like, I was probably in high school and I was just bored looking around, and there it was. I'm like, oh my god. It had been in there for a really, really, really long time. But yeah, man, Wrong Turn 2 fucked me up. So those were the two, like, movies that, like, distinctly really, really messed me up. And, you know, a little side note, if you watched my Exorcist review, which actually did pretty well, which I'm very happy about, I spoke about the Exorcist Face and the scare maze thing that went fucking super viral in the early 2000s. And just that face alone really fucking scared me. That, like, I was not a jump scare guy, man. And again, I'm a real young kid at this point, but that thing fucked me up so bad, dude. I would, like, go out of my way. I didn't watch YouTube for like 3 months. I just, and anytime I would, and again, jump scares were the big thing to do. So it'd be like a random ass video. It'd be something stupid that I was watching. It's like Family Guy Funny Moments, Volume 32. And like, I'm just sitting there watching it as this fucking kid. And then bam, some fucking jump scare lady. I'm like, what the fuck? So I just swore off YouTube forever, which was probably like 3 months. But yeah, dude, that Exorcist Face. Not the movie. I had never seen the movie. I swore to myself I would never watch it until I really got into horror, and now it's one of my fucking favorite horror movies of all time. But yeah, man, I wanted nothing to do with the movie, but it was just that face, dude. Oh my god, it fucking wrecked me. And the last thing I want to talk about before we get into some more adulthood horror and what genuinely scares me now, was Jason Voorhees. Now, me and my dad and my stepmom at the time went to a Halloween shop. And if you go back and you watch the you watch the Friday the 13th series reviews, I'm sure I think it was probably the first one that I told this story. So sorry if you're getting a repeat, but it is what it is. So we walk into this horror shop, and I remember just wandering around. I was kind of staying towards like the kids section. I just wanted like a cool fucking Spider-Man suit to wear for Halloween or whatever. And I wander off into like the adult horror section, and there's this fucking life-size statue of Jason Voorhees, and I'm just wandering around with my little ADHD brain, and I fucking bump into it, and I back up, and there he is just standing there. And I was like, oh, and I look over, and it's all these like promotional shots of the statue, and the one that really stuck out to me was that very statue. Probably not that statue, but you know, the same model. There was like a picture of him in someone's basement, and it looked really, really similar to the basement at my stepmom's house. And I was like, nope, and I fucking bolted, dude. I ran so fast, and I ran right over to my dad. I wasn't crying or anything like that, but he could tell I was shook up, and he was like, oh, what'd you see? And I was like, nothing, I just want to get a suit, and we need to leave now. That Jason statue fucking wrecked me, but I will credit that, because I was scared of Jason for like a couple months, but, you know, at that point, I was like 8 or 9, somewhere around there. I'm sure I fuck up, you know, how old I was when I first really started getting into it, but, you know, I was in the kind of like the Alien, Predator, more sci-fi stuff, and that Jason statue, it fucking scared me, just like, you know, House of Wax and Wrong Turn did. But sure enough, I just kept thinking about it, and I was like, you know, this is kind of fucking cool. And so I started Googling, you know, Jason Voorhees, and I see, okay, he wears a hockey mask, and oh, why is he wearing a bag in this one, and who's this little kid in the lake? I mean, I didn't know fucking anything. I knew nothing about Jason. And I learned, like, everything online, you know? I kept looking up information about the character, and I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting, and fucking the rest is history, man. And now I run a fucking YouTube channel where I gush about one of my number one loves in life, and that's horror, man. Jason Voorhees in the Friday the 13th series, I credit as the thing that got me into pure horror. Like, it is, you know, Alien and Predator, absolutely, I consider those horror movies, no doubt. But as far as like pure 80s slasher fucking horror films, Friday the 13th, man. That's why whoever asks me who's your favorite slasher villain or who's your favorite horror villain, and I adore Michael Myers. I think he is easily one of the most, if not the most iconic fucking horror character ever. He's magnificent. I love everything about Michael Myers, but dude, when anyone asks me, man, it's Jason Voorhees, dude. 100%. And it all started with me seeing that fucking statue, dude. Fuck that. but it was cool. If I ever, I don't know what Halloween shop that was, but if I ever get to go, if I ever see that thing again, it would be hard to not convince me to buy it, because I think that would be a really, really cool full circle thing to do. And yes, I will absolutely put it in my basement. Moving on. So before I get into my like adult, I almost said my adult films. No. Before I get into the movies that have scared me as an adult, late teens, early adult, I want to talk about shock horror, and that's just what I call it. You know, I hear people who are like, "Okay, this is genuinely scary. Like like this movie's like genuinely disturbing and upsetting, and yada yada yada." I want to distinguish. I want to make a very, very strong statement here. And this is just my opinion. If you like these types of movies, fucking that's have a ball. But stuff like Cannibal Holocaust and Cannibal Ferox and Salo 120 Days of Sodom and a Serbian film and Human Centipede sequels and the shit that is made strictly to shock and disgust with no real substance there, I don't like that shit. To me, it's not fucking scary. Cannibal Holocaust, for instance. Which, if you're asking, no, I haven't. I think I watched it once while I was in high school, because I think every horror fan goes through that phase of, like, what's the most brutal shit I can find, and I watched that movie, and I was just like, fucking really, dude? Like, I'm not gonna say it scared me, but I was just, like, so disappointed that this is a part of the thing that I love. Because it is a part of the horror genre, there's no doubt about it. It's a very infamous film, you know, you get the real animal death and all that shit, and it's just, to me, it's fucking pointless. Like, it's just too much. It's fucking dumb. The cannibal, like, films have never really done anything for me. I don't like Green Inferno. And I like Eli Roth, too, don't get me wrong. I fucking really like Eli Roth, but for some reason, like, especially the old 70s cannibal films, they just don't do anything for me, man. I'd say everyone has that one section of horror that everyone else loves. I'm just like, dude. And granted, I don't hear a lot of people say a lot of positive things about Cannibal Holocaust, because it is a genuinely disgusting movie. And same with Cannibal Ferox, which I also watched. And it's just, these movies don't disturb me. They're just fucking gross. And it makes me sad, because it's like, these people take the horror genre and they take something that, in my opinion, is so beautiful, and they just pervert it and they make it something gross. And when people look at it and they're like, see, that's why horror is disgusting and horror fans are weird, and I don't fucking like it, man. I think it's a bad look. I think those filmmakers who slaughtered live animals should be ashamed of themselves. And yeah, man, you know, it's fucking disgusting. And before anyone, you know, any big brain gets in the comment section and is like, oh, what about the snake in Friday the 13th? I don't condone that shit either. But when that's like a crutch for your movie, and like you use that as a genuine, like, look how fucking edgy we are, that's a little different to me. Obviously, I don't condone the snake getting killed in Friday. That's not fucking cool either. But yeah, man, enough of my rant on shock horror. And I talk about shock horror to talk about the next film on my list. And this is a film that I have very mixed feelings about, because I don't think it's a good film by any means. I really, really don't. And the next 3 films I'm going to talk about after this, I legitimately think are fantastic movies. This is not a good movie from a filmmaking perspective. And and it kind of lends itself to, again, what I don't like about, like, shock horror. It's like they're just doing shit strictly to disgust and repulse, and it's just not, and people will put that label on something like Saw, but the difference is there's substance to Saw. There's no substance with, Cannibal Holocaust or Ferox or anything like that. But anyways, I'll stop burying the lead. The next film on the list is Megan is Missing. Now, I watched this, I think, late high school, early college. I watched it for free on YouTube. I just, again, it was just, I had heard so much about it. I remember seeing it at Family Video, and it was one of those ones that was like, oh, must be 18 or older to rent. And I was like, oh my God, like, this has got to be fucking crazy. And so I was always curious to watch it, and then I finally did, and like I said, the movie itself is not very good. But the premise, and so you won't hear me paying any compliments to this movie, especially since I'm gonna gush about the next three. But there's just something about it still that is deeply, deeply, deeply unsettling, and it's I'll say it's effective. Like, it fulfills its purpose. It's the horror of being kidnapped and all of the other stuff that, it's a young girl being kidnapped, so do the math where that goes. I won't mention any of it here, just, I don't want to trigger anybody or anything like that. But yeah, it is not a fun watch, and it's very, very deeply, it's not fun. It's not a fun watch to me at all. And the thing about, watching horror as a kid and getting scared is you're still having fun, Yeah, you're scared. Yeah, you're not going to sleep for the next couple months, but there's still a degree of, like, excitement to it, and I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, and I was kind of expecting that going into this, as a naive young film watcher. And it's fucking gross, man. It's disgusting. I'll say it disturbed me, while something like a Cannibal Holocaust or a Cannibal Ferox just grossed me out, and I was kind of repulsed by it, but I didn't lose sleep over it. I was just like, fucking really? This, I will say, did absolutely disturb me. It unsettled me. I didn't like it. I would never ever watch it again. It's not something that, and honestly, it's on my list because it did genuinely frighten me, but it's the first time I finished a movie and I just spent a couple minutes thinking about like holy fuck, dude, like something like this could really fucking happen and has happened to people. The depiction of the actual kidnapping and yada yada yada, it's all very realistic. And if it's not your thing, I totally understand that, and honestly, I can't recommend you watch the movie whether you disturb easily or not. It's just everything else of the movie is kind of a waste of time. I don't think anyone does a really good job in it, and it's just not something I'm super interested. I don't think I'll ever review it on the channel, but I can't recommend you see it, but it did genuinely upset me and disturb me, so I figured I would throw it on the list. So moving on, now we're getting into the three films that I genuinely do love, and I think are two of them are fucking close to masterpieces. Actually, I would say the first one I'm going to talk about is a horror masterpiece. And all three of these, dude, all three of these are fucking... I love these movies. I 100% recommend you go out and see them. for not only for the just based off the attraction that a seasoned horror fan watched these for the first time and genuinely got freaked out. But we'll go in the order that I watched them. First of all, we have Hereditary. Now, I am not sure if I've talked about this on the channel before already or not, but I watched Hereditary with my mom for the first time, and I hope she's listening to this because she'll get a kick out of this story. So, any good family, you're going to have little squabbles, you're going to have little arguments and fights and yada yada yada. So, we started watching this. I don't know what the fuck happened. I can't even tell you. I don't know. It was something stupid and dumb like it usually is with any fucking family. But yeah, man, we kind of got in a little bit of a heated argument, man, and we were bickering at each other, and, we finally just kind of huffed and puffed and turned the movie back on, and I think we were probably about 15 minutes into it when we started squabbling. Huffed and puffed, turned it back on, and this movie fucking floored us. Whoa. It was a lot, man. This movie is a lot to take in. What I love about this movie is it deals with fucking grief. That's the central theme of it. It is a much, obviously there's paranormal and demon shit in it too, but it highlights like grieving family members and how, because there's something that just is absolute. There's an event in the movie that is just absolutely horrific and awful, and it is depicted so just cut and dry. Here it is. They didn't dilly-dally. It wasn't overly artsy or anything like that. It was blunt. That's the word I'm looking for. It was a very blunt, horrifying scene, and the rest of the movie just depicts the effects that event has on this family. And me and my mom just watched this, and it's so fucking good. Toni Collette is just magnificent. God, she is incredible in this and everything else. I adore Toni Collette. But yeah, man, Ari Aster, brilliant filmmaker, and he just tore me and my mom apart with this movie, dude. Like, we got done with it, and I remember distinctly once the credits started rolling, I just looked at my mom, and I was like, I'm sorry. And she was like, I'm sorry too. And we just, in the most oddly beautiful, fucking weird turn of events, this horrifying film brought me and my mom back together again, which I'm sure we would have gotten over it anyways. Like I said, I'm sure it was something stupid. But yeah, man, that movie just kind of, like, because it deals with, like, family grief and family just awfulness. We were just looked at each other, we're like, I'm sorry. And like, dude, that movie was fucking nuts. I really, really dig it though. Hereditary is fucking great. And yeah, man, again, once that movie was over, I just kind of was in a whirlwind, and I was just like, oh god, dude, like, repeating things that happened in that movie over and again in my head, which I hadn't done in years. Like, that's why it's one of my favorite horror movies ever, because it sticks with me, dude. Even now, certain scenes of that movie just fucking, I'll think about it, I'm just like, ooh. And I've watched it multiple times since, and it doesn't have the exact same effect on me, but when you first watch that, like, I remember I watched it with a couple buddies of mine at a cabin, and one of them, she was like, I guarantee you can't find something that's gonna scare me. Like, I guarantee it. And we had some people there who were, like, kind of sensitive to horror, which I understand. I'm not that guy who just presses it on people. I know it's not for everybody. But they did want to watch a scary movie, so I showed them Reanimator. And, they were all like, oh, that was really good. And it's a fucking great movie, too. But she was like, yeah, it was good. Didn't scare me, though. And I was like, all right. everyone else go to bed. So me, her, and two of my other buddies stayed up till like 2 in the morning and watched Hereditary. And dude, she it didn't like floor her or anything. Like she wasn't rattled beyond belief, but you could tell it kind of got her a little bit. And I was like, I'll take that. It's not a total win, but I'll take it. Hereditary fucking rules. The next one I want to talk about is Lake Mungo. Now, I did talk about Lake Mungo to a certain extent on my 6 underrated horror films. That was a while back. But yeah, man. Lake Mungo. So I had heard I first watched it when it had that big boom on like it went super viral there for a little while, and I was just hearing some of these people talk about it. Like I saw like Ryan Hollinger do a review on it, and I saw Chris Stuckman give it a lot of praise, and those are two. I really don't give a shit what people think about movies, but those are two guys whose opinion does carry some weight with me. I don't always agree with them. I'm not just some mindless drone. There are things that I agree and disagree with them, but I absolutely respect both of their views on films. So whenever I heard them both give a lot of praise to this, I was like, okay, I might need to check this out. And I checked it out, and it's this documentary about, I'm noticing that really, really strong, visceral family horror is what gets to me now. When it's done well, like in Hereditary or like Mungo, it genuinely bothers me. Like, I can still appreciate the film for being amazing, but it genuinely hurts to watch. And this one it's sad, dude. It's such a sad movie. But it's done so well. There's definitely an element of the paranormal in this one. And it's shot in a documentary style, which I always have really liked documentaries. I'm not a huge true crime guy, to me it doesn't have the same kind of pizzazz as like traditional horror films, but I do enjoy them. Like I do enjoy the occasional documentary, whether it be true crime or just, anything really. But I do enjoy documentaries, and so hearing that this was like a documentary style film intrigued me a lot. And dude, this movie just fucking floored me, man. It's such a sad, brutal, not in like, it's not super graphic or anything like that, but it is extremely, like, it packs a punch in more ways than one. There are times where it is scary as shit. Mostly, they're going over footage and they think there's ghosts, and they do these slow zooms on like a ghost's face, like kind of faded out by the camera, and just the music in it. It's so fucking scary. And like, I'm a seasoned horror fan at this point. I've seen the craziest of the crazy shit, but there was something about those shots, man, that just got under my skin, and that is not easy to do at all. Lake Mungo fucking rules. And then you have the ending scene at Lake Mungo, which I will not spoil. I refuse to. But, one day I'll talk about it on the channel and we'll get all into it. But that scene just fucking blew me away, man. It fucking blew me away. And genuinely frightened me. But yeah, man, and on to our last film. The last film that I saw that genuinely did spook me. It was Halloween 2020. I had really nothing to do. I think my girlfriend at the time, now my fiance, but at the time my girlfriend I think she was doing something. So I was home all alone. I was home all alone. Halloween night 2020, big pandemic. Not handing out candy. He's kind of bummed out about that. Yada yada yada. And I was like, you know what? I gotta do something. Like I got to do something. So I turned on. Okay, little backstory. I do a lot of DVD hunting. That's one of the things that I really want to get into. At some point, is doing like DVD hunt vlogs, or maybe doing a video on my DVD collection or the horror collection, yada yada yada. But I've been collecting movies for a very, very, very long time, and I'm a guy who, if a cover strikes me, and it's cheap, and this one was. If something strikes me, and I miss that feeling so much of going to a video store or a video rental place, and just the covers of certain horror films, or just films in general, that just grab you. And like, there was always that exciting risk of like, oh, is this gonna be a really, really good movie that I just don't know about, or is this gonna be like some B-rated piece of shit where most of the budget went into the poster so people would buy it? That happened once with one film that me and my folks fucking rented, and we were pissed because it was shit. But anyways, but no, man. So I try to embrace that feeling when I'm out DVD hunting now, and I'll go to like resale shops, and if a cover really grabs me, I'll pick it up, and I was just strolling through, and I picked up Ganjam Haunted Asylum. There's a DVD copy of it, and I looked at it, and it's a bare bones cover, man. Red background, spooky, decrepit building, and just boom, Ganjam Haunted Asylum. It's a Korean film, and I was just like, okay. And I just fucking put it, with my stack, and I just went on about my business. And it just sat there for a little while. A Halloween night came, didn't have shit to do, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to pop this in. And oh my God. Guys, again, this is one I talked about on the underrated horror films. This fucking movie rules. Not enough people are talking about this one, man. And I really, really want them to. It's going to be to the point where I just give this a full-on fucking review. Because it deserves it, man. Oh my God, this movie. Look, I am a seasoned horror guy. I have watched all the shit. Not all of it. But, like, I've seen some shit, man. I've watched all the fucking dumb Cannibal Holocaust pieces of shit movies. I've seen, bits and pieces of like Sallow or fucking Human Centipede and all this shit that's supposed to be so fucking scary. But dude, Ganjam Haunted Asylum, just the people making this movie, they just get it, dude. Literally all the stuff that I find disturbing about paranormal shit, they got in this movie. Oh my God, dude. I don't even want to really say anything about it because it's just so fucking scary. And it sounds like I have a sponsorship from them, and I don't. But God, the way I'm selling this, you'd think. But anyways, man, they're just really, it all comes down to the setting and the shots. There are shots in this movie, man, and long takes too. There are super fucking long takes. One in particular that I'm remembering now, and it's spooking me even thinking about it. But dude, just some of the physical acting from some of these people, and just the makeup, everything about this movie fucking shook me. I genuinely think it honestly, dude, and I know this sounds fucking weird, I'm not going to say it's just the scariest movie I've ever seen, because I think that gets thrown around a lot. But I'll tell you this. I don't cover my eyes during horror films. I don't hide behind my pillow. I don't do any of that shit. I did both of those things watching this movie. That's how fucking scary this is. I really don't know what else I would need to say other than that. Do what I did to really experience this movie. Turn off your phone, turn off all the lights in your fucking room, make it pitch black, put it on a big ass TV like I did, and just go along for the ride, man. Because that movie is fucking terrifying. And I love it. It's genuinely one of my favorite horror films now. Like, no question in my mind. A little plot holy here and there, no doubt about it. There's definitely some aspects about it, because it is a found footage movie, and there are some aspects where I'm like, mostly like the music. It's like, why is there music in a found footage horror film? Like, this is a footage of people dying, and whoever edited this together just felt compelled to put spooky music on it. Not spooky music. I will say spooky music. Spooky music. Not spooky shit. It was mostly like in the beginning when they're all like having fun and stuff. And it's like, why'd you put music on this? Like, there's no reason to even do that. But fucking, that's a super minor nitpick. Anyways. But yeah, man, go out and check out Gonjiam Haunted Asylum. Eventually, I will do reviews on most of these movies that I've talked about that I haven't reviewed yet. But yeah, man, which I think is all of them. I don't think I've done a single one of these in review form. I haven't. I guess we have a little project on our hands, don't we? But yeah, guys. Well, that'll do it for now for the podcast. There are definitely other movies that have given me the heebie-jeebies, but as far as like genuinely spooking me to my core, it's definitely these ones, man. Absolutely incredible films, except for well, at least the last three are. Megan is Missing isn't good at all, but it did disturb me. And then obviously I am very nostalgic for House of Wax and Wrong Turn 2, just because I do miss that feeling of being a little kid and getting scared from movies and shit. Excuse me. But yeah, man, it's good to be back. It's the first thing dropping after my little break. I got engaged, which is really fucking cool. I'm engaged to be married to Mrs. Darkness, so that's going to be fucking rad, and hopefully I get a little wedding vlog whenever that happens. I have no clue, so don't ask, because I don't know. But yeah, man, be looking forward to the Alien 3 review coming out real soon. And yeah, guys, it's good to be back, man. Thank you, as always, for supporting this channel and supporting my dreams. Thank you. I love you. Hell yeah. It's always weird because I'm used to wrapping these up on camera, and I'm not on camera. So without further ado, man, take care of each other. Keep watching horror. And keep watching horror that scares the shit out of you, because it doesn't happen a lot. But watch Gonjiam Asylum and Gonjiam Haunted Asylum. And yeah, you'll shit your pants like I did. Almost literally. That's another story for another day. All right, I'm rambling. I'm just happy to be back, man. So have a good day, guys, and take care. Bye-bye.